All right, so going over your idea here, I guess this is going to be as good as way as any to get this built. The main problems we'll have is here at this point. Um, there's so many factors that are going to cause this to not ever seal properly that you're just going to have to deal with the light leak. So one way of doing that is by extending these out as much as you can for design, as much as you dare. So the farther out we go, the more chance there isn't to see any sort of light leak because you can't get right up on it. You can't see it directly from below. So the farther you push this out, plus you're going to have multiple inaccuracies both up and down and left to right. So the left to right will come from the fact that, just welding this up here is going to pull it in, but also when you're dealing with like a 10-foot radius ring, this is going to be way left to right, left to right. So this wall will no longer be a perfect circle. Even as you weld it up here, all these welds are going to make this thing kind of turn weird and could be rhombus or ovoid. Um, whereas, so down here, whereas these are going to be routed as a perfect circle. So this will go in and out, in and out. So we definitely want to have this stuck out for that reason. But also 3/16 polycarbonate, any kind of polymeric is only going to be 0.177. And then you'll have the inaccuracies of the casting and also the inaccuracies of how these are going to get welded on by hand. So, and then when you add in your tape, whatever you're going to use to hold this on, this will be up and down based on all the factors of this vertically. So again, you'll have space vertically here as well to deal with. So not only will you have your left to right of the return, but you'll have the up and down of the discrepancies in tape, how well these are welded in. If they're slightly crooked, not in this angle, but the other angle facing away from us, then that will push this down, or that'll be up, and then this will not be touching there. So essentially making this longer gives you the ability to hide that from view from a different sight line, but also depending on what color this is going to be, black or bronze or whatever, then you would just basically go through once this is all done and you put these rings on, just do a bathroom bathroom tub caulk kind of action and just seal this up for light leaks. Um, the other issue though is nailing down any kind of polymeric. As we know, it wants to grow. It's not happy when it's being held in place, even though it's going to be, if it's going to be indoors, fine, it might be stable enough. But this is going to want to sag as well. And the other issue is when you do countersinking by hand, again, when you go to put the screw in, lining it up and everything, the screw is going to push the polycarbonate one way or another. So if this countersink's a little off and then this one's tilted to the right a little bit, then when this thing goes in, it's going to pull this wall out, it's going to push this one in, and you add that into all the screws that you're going to have to go around, you're going to end up with some lasagna noodle, not necessarily on this cross section access here, but if you're looking at it like longitudinal cross section of the whole thing, the spacing in between these is going to cause it to, it's going to want to sag by nature, obviously, and so that is also going to affect. So in between screws, it'll affect that light leak area. The thing you're going to have to do is take a strip of this. So if this is like 4 inches wide, then take a strip that's 2 to 3 feet long and place it on the table. And if these are going to be sliced, let's say an inch wide this way, so if the actual dimension of this is like 1 inch, then take 1 inch square tubing, get 2 pieces, put them next to each other on the table, put the strip of polycarbonate on top of it, and then slide the pieces of tubing away from each other and then I sightline it until this will start to sag between your strips. And you want to keep this from sagging. So obviously pick the point where it starts to sag just barely, and that will be your on center for where these tabs need to be from each other all the way around the circle. You can maybe stagger these a little bit, but these will have to be the same distance as well, but they don't necessarily need to be across from each other. That might help with a little bit of sagging, but that's also going to attribute to the fact that you'll see that. So dealing with this light leak will probably be the biggest issue. if not just the fact that these will be really, really wonky noodles. So, um, but if it's going to be built by us, that's probably the best. That's the way we're going to do it. So, otherwise, yeah, then you'll just have to make sure that this is all welded on as precise as possible. And I imagine these will probably be some sort of a 1/4 inch fabricated thing, because these will be somewhat heavy. The bigger ones will, but also with this length of attachment, this will have some good, inertia in case things get rock and roll with an earthquake or something. So we'd want to make sure that these aren't just bent 090 or something. Like, these are going to have to be um, fabricated fairly well. I want to make those out of 1/4 so they're nice and beefy. So anyway, yep, that's it.